What's happening, everybody? I appreciate you checking in. All right, now the OTs are in the books. I broke down kind of the offensive battles in my previous video that I'm looking forward to when the players return late July. But in this video, I want to break down the defensive battles, the guys, the either position groups or the players I think are either battling for a spot on this 53-man roster or potentially battle for a starting position moving forward. So I'm going to detail that out on this video. But before we get into it, if you can, hit that like button, subscribe, turn on those notifications. My next giveaway is at 5,500 subscribers. If you want to be included, hit that sub button. I definitely appreciate all my subscribers, but I also appreciate all my viewers. It's just my way of saying thank you. And so let's dive right into it. I'm going to bring up the depth chart and I'm going to go through each position group, but let's start out with the defensive ends, right? We have our solidified starters. We got Malcolm Koonce, we got maxxcrosby. Tyree Wilson is going to make this team. And so two players that I'm going to be watching is Charles Snowden and Jah Joyner. Jah Joyner was the undrafted free agent that we brought in. I did a video on all the undrafted free agents. And Jah Joyner, in my opinion, was on the top of the list at potentially making this 53-man roster. And Charles Snowden, look, he was a serviceable defensive end last year, right? He came in when Malcolm Koonce was injured and he was an undrafted free agent himself, but he ended up finding himself starting day one to start the 2024 season. But I do think Jah Joyner possesses the skill set to not only battle for a spot on this 53-man roster, but I do think that he's going to battle Charles Snowden for a potential backup role or rotational piece in this defensive end room. And so between Charles Snowden and Jah Joyner, those two guys that I'm definitely going to be paying attention to see who can battle and lock up this backup DN role, Charles Snowden or Jah Joyner. Let me know in the comment section down below, who do you think would win that battle? If you're looking at those guys as well, let me know in the comment section down below. And let's take a look at the interior defensive line. Now, look, we drafted Tonka Hemingway and JJ Pegues. These guys are going to make the roster, but I think the two guys that are going to be battling a little bit to kind of see who can solidify a backup role, but also maybe even make this 53-man roster is Leki Fotu and Jonah Laulu, right? Leki Fotu is a free agent that we brought in, and he's a bigger interior defensive lineman that can definitely be used in short yardage situations. But Jonah Laulu definitely shined and came on big at the end of last season. I think he definitely showed that he can be a viable backup, but also provide competition in this interior defensive line room. And so Leki Fotu and Jonah Laulu, I think I'm definitely looking forward to seeing these two guys battle for this position. Because again, I do think Tonka Hemingway and JJ Pegues, they're going to make this team. So I do think it's going to be a true battle between Leki Fotu and Jonah Laulu on who kind of makes that last available roster spot in this interior defensive line room. So let me know in the comment section down below, what are your thoughts on this interior defensive line? Who do you think would make this team, Leki Fotu or Jonah Laulu, for this upcoming season? And now let's take a look at the linebackers. Obviously, we have a Landon Roberts, downhill linebacker. He's going to be most likely our starting Mike linebacker. But then we just brought in Jermaine Pratt that I'm very excited about. And I posted a video on that. Go check that out if you can. We also broke down his game film. Go check that out as well. But now, really, I do think the true competition in this linebacker room now is between Devin White and Amari Gainer. Amari Gainer is an undrafted free agent from last year. I do think that he can compete in this linebacker room, but you got Cody Lindenberg. He was the 7th round draft pick. So I do believe he's going to definitely make this team. But Devin White, we brought him in for an extremely inexpensive contract. And so the question is, do you want to go with the veteran presence, a guy with extremely high upside, or do you want to go with the young, underdeveloped talent that has a high upside and continue to build on the potential of Amari Gainer moving forward? So I'm definitely excited to kind of see the battle between Devin White and Amari Gainer. Who is going to potentially make this 53-man roster? Because if you look at the line up, even with Tommy Eichenberg, I think Tommy Eichenberg is going to make this 53-man roster. Behind Jermaine Pratt, Atlanta Roberts, and Tommy Eichenberg, I just don't see us keeping 3 additional linebackers. And so between Devin White, Cody Lindenberg, and Amari Gainer, I think the true competition lies with Devin White and Amari Gainer on who actually makes this squad. So again, like I was saying before, Devin White's contract, you can move on from him, but Devin White also has just an extremely high upside. So I'm really curious just kind of the route that the Raiders go and the competition we see in preseason. So let me know in the comment section down below, who would you keep on this roster? Would you keep Devin White, or would you keep Amari Gainer for the 2025 season? Let me know in the comment section down below. And now let's flip to the defensive backs. I'm going to mainly focus on the cornerbacks because I do think there's a lot of question marks. One, kind of, does Jacorian Bennett move to the slot position? Is Darnay Holmes truly the slot corner that Pete Carroll and his defensive back coach want to roll with? Do they want Darnay Holmes to be that nickel corner, or are they going to move Jacorian Bennett to that nickel corner position? Because you have Eric Stokes that was brought in as a free agent under this regime. They might look at him as a starting corner, and they drafted Darian Porter in the 3rd round. When you draft somebody in the 3rd round, you want them to be the starter. So if Darian Porter and Eric Stokes ends up being the starting 2 outside corners, does Jacorian Bennett get moved down to the slot and compete with Darnay Holmes. And so that's kind of what I'm looking like. As much as it's not necessarily a competition between certain players and position groups, I just think that it's really up for grabs as who's going to be those slotted outside corners and who's going to be that true nickel corner. That's the competition I'm definitely excited to watch out for and just kind of see who battles and proves that they can lock up that position going into the preseason. So let me know in the comment section down below, who do you think is going to lock up the two outside corner positions? Is it Eric Stokes and Darian Porter, or do you think Jacorian Bennett is going to grow off of what we saw prior to his injury in the 2024 season? Do you think he is going to solidify himself as one of the starting corners as well? Let me know in the comment section down below. So let me kind of go up to the big screen. So that's just kind of the battles that I'm looking forward to going into this preseason on the defensive side of the football. So I definitely appreciate you sticking with me. If you can, hit that like button, subscribe, turn on those notifications. My next giveaway is at 5,500 subscribers. Again, so if you want to be included, hit that sub button. So I definitely appreciate you viewing and sticking with me, and I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you on the next one. I'm out of here.